Hey guys, it's Alex. Have you ever heard the saying, abs are made in the kitchen, and been a little bit confused directly after, maybe for a couple of weeks after? Well, it is kind of a strange saying, but the most confusing part about that is figuring out how to nutrition. So how do we approach nutrition scientifically and without all of the nonsense that media is throwing at us? So today we are going to talk about nutrition from a scientific standpoint, specifically identifying the three main classes of macronutrients. So you're all probably very familiar with these classes of macronutrients. They are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats or lipids. So carbohydrates, we all love them, breads, cakes, ice cream, pasta, rice, beans, etc. Carbohydrates function as the main energy source in our body. Glucose, is broken down in the body through cellular respiration to make adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. And if you've ever been in a biology class, you know that ATP is the main energy compound in your body, and it's used to do mostly everything from moving your muscles to blinking your eyes to sending neurotransmitters out and all that good stuff. So ATP for energy, you need it to live. So carbohydrates are pretty important for that reason. People like to think that they don't need to eat carbohydrates, but they also can help support proper nervous function. They are stored in nervous cells, and they're also a key component of making up DNA and RNA. So our second category of macronutrients are proteins. Proteins, some examples, we have low-fat dairy products, you have cheeses, that's a dairy product, what am I thinking? You have meats, whey protein, you can find protein in beans and some vegetables, all vegetables mostly, but not in high quantities. Regardless, proteins are known for people who have muscles. So proteins do provide structure and function in your body. So they do provide structure for your muscles, for your hair, for your skin, and for your nails. They also serve as hormones. So we all know what an imbalance of hormones can do in our body. Thank you, puberty. Proteins also are involved in enzyme activity. They can help digest your food as well as help chemical processes move a little bit quicker in your body. So if you like to live and digest your food and all that good stuff, proteins are essential. Our last category, which gets the worst reputation, is fats. And fats are some examples. We have oils, you have avocados and nuts, like peanut butter, almond butter, the nut butters, that category of stuff. Also fatty meats, full fat dairy, etc. So fats get a bad rap for making people fat. And this is probably because fats have 9 calories per gram, whereas like proteins and carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram. So eating fats, you're getting a more densely packed calorie nutrition sort of situation, but fats themselves are not the enemy. Actually, you need fats to do a lot of things in your body. Actually, fats serve as hormones and neurotransmitters in your body, and we already know, we've said that hormones are very important. Fats can also cushion your internal organs, and you need those, so stored fat even is important. It keeps you warm. Fats also, something really cool is every cell in your body is surrounded by something. The membrane of your cell is called the phospholipid bilayer in science world, and the phospholipid bilayer is essentially 2 layers of fat cells. Essentially, they're made up of fats, of lipids, more specifically. So you need lipids to make more cells. So if you like to have shiny skin, and if you like to have new hair that grows, and you like to have like healthy cells that are living in your body, you need fats. And so eliminating any of these macronutrient groups is a bad idea. So let's talk about how much of these we need. So we know why they're important and what they do, but how much do we need? So for carbohydrates, people like to go on very low carb diets, and I think that it may, in some aspects, be a personal preference. It may serve illnesses like diabetes, and approaching that in a specific way is important. But it is recommended that each person get at least 130 grams of carbohydrates per day, regardless of weight. And then more specifically, if you are striving to follow like specific guidelines that are set, 45 to 65% is recommended by Visualizing Nutrition Everyday Choices, which will be linked below. So 45 to 65% of your daily intake of calories. Moving on to proteins, this one is a bit trickier. It does depend on your weight a little bit more, so 0.8 grams per kilogram of body fat is recommended for protein intake for people who aren't incredibly active. So if you're just like a normal human and you work out sometimes but not super hard, 0.8 grams per kilogram is probably sufficient. However, if you are an endurance athlete or a strength athlete, those protein needs change a little bit. So endurance athletes, it's recommended 1.2 to 1.4 grams of protein per kilogram. And for strength athletes, 1.2 to 1.7. And that just helps with recovery processes for building new muscles. You lose some proteins through sweating, and so you need to make up for that. So if you're working out a lot, your protein needs are going to be a little higher than those who aren't. For fats, because they have such a high density, you do need fats in your body, but you don't need a ton of them. So the recommended daily intake for fats is anywhere from 20 to 35% of your daily intake, and it's recommended that you get most of these fats from polyunsaturated or unsaturated fats. The opposite, on the other side of the spectrum, you should try to minimize the amount of saturated and trans fats in your diet. And trans fats can be disguised as partially hydrogenated oils or hydrogenated oils on the label, and people will try to trick you when they say there's zero trans fat. Always read the label. If there's partially hydrogenated oils, if there's hydrogenated oils, chances are there's some trans fats in there and they are lying to you. Fun fact. So now we know that that's what we need. So what do we do with this information? So from this, we can start to adjust our diets after, of course, talking to our doctors or registered dietitians, because I'm just a kid with a textbook and I do not have the proper training to give you a diet plan that's going to be perfect for your health and your lifestyle. So after you've talked to your doctor, you can start to kind of adjust based on what you know that you need and your lifestyle. So there is a diet plan out there called If It Fits Your Macros, which Dr. Layne Norton describes as a lifestyle approach to dieting, which allows you to eat anything you want as long as it fits your daily allotted macronutrients. There are a few macro calculators that I will link below in which you can figure out the macronutrients that fit your lifestyle a little bit better. I will warn against these calculators though, because they will recommend very, very high protein levels, and that can be damaging to your kidneys. So overall, from this lesson, I want you to understand that there are three main classes of macronutrients that you need to eat, and you need all three of them. And so optimizing your health and your nutrition requires that you are eating from all three macronutrient groups, and then you can start to make your abs in the kitchen, because now you know the tools that you need to do so. So thank you for watching, and maybe I'll make a video next time about a little bit more about macronutrient ratios. So have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.